DMS Chats, DMS TV. We're back. One of the, probably the most important subject, publishing, copyright, your music, your rights. It goes down to your family, to everything. So many things, but we're going to discuss those now. A friend of mine, somebody who's helped me in my career, you know, with all these things, so we're going to discuss them. Mr. Victor Mampane, welcome.
How are you, my man?
I'm good, brother.
Good. Long time.
Long time, man.
Yeah.
6 months. We've been hiding.
Sure, but we're surviving. Yeah?
We're surviving,
Yeah.
man.
Cool.
Yeah, man, it's always a touchy subject, and you know, so many people still don't understand. You know, publishing has been covered every year, and there's so many different bodies and so forth. And I wouldn't say it gets confusing, it's just that people find it difficult to believe because there's so many different rights. And I think before we jump into those rights, because maybe you can just go through the different rights and how they are. And is it important that there are so many rights? Does it all make sense, or is it all? I think let me start with that simple question.
Look, thanks again for this opportunity. It is important to have, because we have different rights in South Africa, and having different...
But it's worldwide, right?
Yes, definitely. The only difference with us, we have a society per right, whereby you've got a performance right, which is SEMRO and IMCOSA. You've got mechanical right, which is CAPASO. You've got native time right, which is SAMPRA and IMPRA. You know, video rights, which is RISA and ECHO. So all those, that's what we...
They for different things.
Exactly.
So the world doesn't have all of that. It's
No.
just your basic publishing and copyright.
Yes, definitely. And most countries would have two rights per society. For example, in Germany, you will have GEMA representing mechanical and also performance in one. The very same way what SEMRO and the then norm tried to do, where SEMRO wanted to absorb the mechanical rights within the same organization. But you know, due to they saw a business not working perfectly at the time, so that's why I decided to split the two. But yes, for us, honestly, it is important. And publishing comes in the middle of all the rights, you know, because you get a recording label. Within a recording label, you need to publish your music. Within your recording label, you have an artist, but sometimes artists don't write their own music. Sometimes
a writer.
Exactly. So that's where the publisher comes in to try first. And I agree with you when you say it's not difficult, but people find it a bit confusing because they're not sure what to do. Firstly, we need to identify Christos. Who are you? Christos is it's okay. You wear lots of caps, but your main craft, what is it? I'm a DJ. Okay, fine. Over and above that, you write your own music. You do your own beats. Then already right there, you are a DJ who creates his own. And the minute you create your own, that's when the publishing comes in. That's why you've got Katsaitis music. You know, where you as a writer, you've got Katsaitis music, publishing your own music, of which you've signed an agreement with your company now, which now your company becomes a third party. So it's a very important, yes, and publishing cuts through the whole thing. And the agreements that are out there also, they're a bit, lots of them, but all of them as important as the music itself. Yeah.
So the advice is, and of course it's also advice from my side, you have to be part of all the three bodies. There's three bodies really, SAMPRA, CAPASO and SEMRO. You know, and all three bodies represent a different right. You know, so it's important because one is performance, mechanical, so forth. So it's very, very important that we understand that they're not the same. One company doesn't duplicate what the other does.
Exactly.
So you have to sign up with all three.
Exactly.
Then there's another valuable side, which I feel a lot of people haven't exploited, and I'm happy you have, or at least started to, which is another part where we don't understand. And that's actually where people can get I wouldn't say a middleman, or sign up with a company that actually takes their works and gets work for them.
Exactly.
Because, well, if you're not played on radio, if you're not getting onto adverts and so forth, then your music is not making money.
Definitely.
If you're not getting played, you're not making money. But if you've got somebody making sure that those things are done, then you're actually making a lot more money.
Absolutely.
Unlike hoping for luck.
Exactly.
And that's where this part comes in, and you also take care of all of this other stuff. And I think that's very important to me, because I think maybe a lot of us need to find somebody, a company that does that for us. And I know there was companies that used to do it, but it was just kind of like, you know what, let's just collect and make sure everybody's stuff in.
Yes.
It was more of an administrative thing,
Creative.
but nobody really working for the artist. You have opened up a company. Maybe explain to us what you do and why is it beneficial for an artist to actually get into bed with you?
Yeah. Look, I opened Batupili Publishers for a sole purpose. When I was working at my previous employee, there was a publishing division there. And I was at the back end and I could understand only the back end. I didn't understand what's actually happening. And most of the time people would come to us with no contract, number one. Others have a contract but didn't understand what the contract is. Thirdly,
when you say contracts, you mean contracts with a record label
or a publishing company?
A publishing company.
Yes, yes, all the time. So they would come and don't understand what contract they've signed. And some of them would say, but I signed this contract with ABC, but they're not doing what I expected them to do. And then you ask a simple question, what do you expect them to do? No, I'm an artist. I don't know how to plug my song. That's where publishing comes in. And then they will say, but now I hear my song being played, but I don't even know what rights do I need to get. I'm afraid to go outside because if I go outside, what if now I'm in breach of my contract? So one of the reasons I started Batupili Publishing is to assist and to say, Chris, do you have a publishing company? And yes, I do have Peter. It's CHATS Music, okay. With CHATS Music, are your paperwork in order? Because you're absolutely right. You can have music, but if it's not being played, there's no income. On the flip side of that is, Chris is having music played on almost all over the radio stations and TV stations, but he's not seeing the income. Where is the income? And that's where now most of our societies come in, but because now people don't understand where to go for what right, and that's why I said earlier on, understand who you are in terms of what you do in the music industry. So opening Batupili Publishers, it came in at the point to say, how can I contribute? I think I've contributed enough with my 22 years of service in terms of the back office now. Now I'm here and I see all the same artists, same people, legends like yourself, and the young ones coming in. Now the young ones are coming in, they don't know where to go. The legends know the information, but also because
everything started so, I mean, I must be honest, publishing not necessarily beats me. I mean, I see the money coming in and I see the value in it. But I think I get to feel, and after speaking to you a few times, and I haven't done anything about it, and I feel bad about it, there is a lot that we're not tapping into. And I mean, let's just say that take now KG, the song Jerusalem, that's massive all over the world. Yeah. If he doesn't have his paperwork in order, he's going to lose all that money.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of money to be gained from the play, and so forth. But if he doesn't have the paperwork in order, and that's where it catches up to you. And I'm not saying he doesn't, I don't know.
No, exactly.
But I'll be honest with you, you asked the question, do you have your paperwork in order? I'm not sure if I do have it 100% in order. Things are all over the place. And I think sometimes as creatives, we just want to be
creatives, exactly.
And we want somebody to take care of this. I want somebody to be called and take my bookings. I want somebody to take care of this for me, but I feel that he should give me a service. The only problem maybe I found was that I never got the service, so I guess I did everything by myself. So I went to everybody, signed up and got the money, and I don't even look through things. Okay, it's always good, and and so forth. But I feel there's a lot more that can be done.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean from your side. So if you do feel that you have potential tracks, do you guys approach people for adverts, those type of things? How good is your hit rate regarding that? Do they approach you companies for songs?
If thus far, what I actually did, because as I say, I had to identify who I am in the music industry. I'm an administrator. I'm a publisher. But what I did, I have people that I work with. I would come to Chris and say, Chris, I need music. Then Chris will give me music, then I will go to next party to say, listen, here's music from a great producer. This music actually can fit ABC. Can you please assist my client through me, whereby you now take it to the agency. So I don't go directly to the agency because I know my limits and I understand my strengths. So I always say, okay, I can do A, but in order for me to service and hit the nail on the head to say you're not getting a service. So in order for me to give you that service, I need to take what I can and pass on what I can't. But also be in contact with you, liaise with you, and make you understand that the reason why I'm doing this is because A is being taken care of, but B and C also need to be.
So you're giving it to specialists.
Specialists. Who will say at the end of the day, Victor, that is lovely music, but it's not enough. Can Chris give us a more 100 songs? No problem. Chris is always a person that I can rely on. Chris, we've got this deal, but in order for us to get to point A, from point A to point B, we need more music. No problem, Vic. What music do you need? Here's a hard drive. Give it to them. Let them listen. If they need more, we can work on more.
Is that primarily for adverts? Is it for or multiple use?
This is multiple use because you can use a song and Jerusalem, for example, is now being used as virtual meetings, as an introduction to the meeting.
Right.
It is now used as motivational kind of, not speaking, but the dance itself. It is seen to bring people together in these trial times. So it's now used multiple ways, and I won't be surprised seeing that particular song on a movie very soon. I won't be surprised seeing that particular song on a documentary as well. So music, and the lovely thing about music, I think if you can remember a couple of years ago, you said you live music, you breathe music, you sleep music, you do everything music. So music is everything. Music. I survived through this pandemic. One of the things that made me survive is through music, listening to music and making sure that, okay, let me put some of my stresses away. Let me listen to certain, and that's where like Jerusalem also came in. I lost a close friend of mine the 1st of January this year, and Jerusalem was one of the songs that picked me up after I got that call to say so and so has passed on. That is one of the songs that does. Yes, it picked me up. I was able to go and
heals the soul.
Exactly. So yes, so music, it's across the board. Whether it's in advert, whether it's in movies, whether it's a mere campaign that you want to put together. We do lots of presentations. Some of the presentations we use music so that you don't get kind of tired of the content, but the music will make you bring your brain cells up, and then you focus more. So it's across the board.
Right. The question that was really interesting to me is the whole thing that Facebook has brought out now. DJs no longer allowed to play. From the 1st of October, they're going to block people playing music and stuff like that because it's actually more of a different platform. And the fact that they don't see the value in maybe that it's brought people, it's helped Facebook in a certain sense. I know maybe it wasn't developed for that, but it is there. And the fact that they don't see the value in it, maybe in signing up. Is that a problem that we are having or the whole world? I'll tell you something funny. The French agency that collects like our agencies, they had a deal with, they actually had something in, I think it was May, where they were giving artists, those that go on Facebook Live, the DJs, depending on the views they have, they give them a certain amount per hour, you know, in euros, like something like 200 euros per hour that they go live, and depending on the viewers they have. So the more viewers they have, the more money they get. So that means they must have had some deal with Facebook, because where were they getting the money from? Or something like that. Do we not have a license with Facebook in this country, or is it just a world thing?
It's the thing is, when it comes to users, we need to use it music. There's
you
an
need to pay for
obligation
to pay.
Yes. It is now how you as a business want to look at it. And most businesses look at it as to say, am I making money out of this? No. Some of them is like, nah, but I'm not making money. Why must I?
I'm just doing it.
Yeah. Yes. But what the unfortunate part is what has not been realized here is, as a DJ, for you to play music, for you to DJ, you need content, which is music. And for you to be able to play that music, you need an artist or a creator to create that particular. So there's already two people that having an income into this whole virtual thing. And then also that's where also publishing comes in, that's where record label comes in, that's where marketing comes in, because all those people you, Chris, here, we only see you, but we don't know the people behind you.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
So all these people behind you are being supported by you doing this one thing.
Mhm.
So the unfortunate part is, and also that's something that the CMO struggle with, to convince businesses that there's value in music.
Mhm.
How many times have you heard them come back to you as a DJ? You say, but I'm playing from my stick.
Yes.
You know,
It's music I bought.
I bought, yes,
Yes.
but what we're not realizing is you bought it for personal use. You didn't buy it for public performance, and that's where the Copyright Act comes in for public consumption. And that's also where the CMOs struggle the most to convince a person that is using music. So, but no, most of the time you go to businesses, let me not mention names, where they play music to their public to say, but no, people are here to buy other stuff. The music is just for
There. Yeah,
there.
like in a clothing store or whatever it
Exactly,
is.
yeah. And then you say to them, but now you have a radio station. Particular radio station specifically for your clothing store. For that particular radio station, you had a license for you to have that radio station. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, let's take the music out. Let's have a talk show where you talk all the time. There's no, will they survive?
They won't.
They won't, definitely won't. So I think that's where my view is.
There needs to be a payment.
Exactly, yes.
But I think maybe the way forward is to create a payment gate. So if you know you're going to be live for an hour, let's say the publishing for an hour, which is a standard fee,
Yes.
you pay it and that gets paid to the rightful
So the
owners.
right- And also, but if you think about
I mean, it's not that easy. I mean, you know this needle time. It's supposed to pick up the songs. It's supposed to pick up the song. Somehow I feel somebody's blocking that the monetization, it could be easily done. I mean, it's like
Yes.
identifying a song on Shazam, but I think there's just too many people with their hands
to
wanting to
yes.
be part of it, and they're blocking it from really being there. Because if the song could be picked up and it gets picked up and the money is spread everywhere, there is ways and means of doing it, or is it just not worth doing it? But it messes up the industry.
It does. And to answer that, unfortunately, it is the understanding again. It goes back to understanding.
So people just don't understand.
People don't understand.
So they don't want to get involved.
Yes. So if, for example, let's look at Facebook, for example. Would you be able to access Facebook without data?
No.
Exactly. You have to buy data in order for you to access Facebook. Facebook is making money out of that data. Whether you with whether with MTN, Vodacom, all those. Already you spend money on data, you're accessing somebody else's service through this data. Now, what needs to happen there is that money that has been coming from the data usage, that's the money that needs to be paid back to the people that I'm there to view Christos's DMS. That's all I want to see. In order for me to see Christos speaking to a Victor or any other person, because there's information that I need to access, I need to access data. And then for me to get the data, I need to spend money. So that's where now the Facebooks are missing it. Right there is you.
So you think you could just sort it out right there?
Right there. And if we can understand it, to say, and that's also
So
why
it wouldn't be their problem.
Absolutely, because they've already been receiving the money for it anyway. The same as with CMOs. You run a radio station or a TV station. You go and look for a sponsor, or you go and look for advertising. Advertising already paid for all that. All you need to do is just to budget for it. You say, okay, fine. Music is 10% of the total revenue that I'm making. Pay the 10% to the CMO. That's all you need to do. And it's a mindset. Obviously, coming to business, now you have to look at, for example, when the pandemic started, most of us had to think of, okay, what first do I need to get rid of? Some of us got rid of DSTV.
Sure.
Some of us made mistakes of getting rid of insurance companies, medical aids, and all those things. But medical aid and insurance, that's what we call it a grudge payment. Because you really don't want to pay because you don't see the value of it immediately.
Yes.
But if you get in an accident, if you get sick, that's where you see the value of that card.
Sure,
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing as when we come to music. You don't see the value now. But if you think back and you sit back, as I said,
Sure.
most people survive through music. that's where you will see the value. And then
yeah.
the money's already there. You're not
Yes.
spending more money. And that's I think.
Sure.
where
It's
we
something
see-
that grows
Yes.
with time.
Yeah.
I think the last question. I mean, we're talking about the contracts and stuff like that. The song Jerusalem. I mean, the way it is with the views and everything, there's a lot of money there.
Definitely.
The paperwork has to be in order.
Has to be in
and
order.
you know what I mean? And I think it's very key. Just imagine you had data. And I'm not saying it's not in order, I don't know. But imagine it's not. With the amount of views and what has happened and where it is right now in the world. I mean, that's the important part. And that's why it's so important that when you make music, because that could actually be a retirement.
Exactly.
Because it's not only about it being played now, it will be played forever. And I think there was a point where, I mean, it's going to go to movies. I mean, just run through everything that it is, because we were talking about it earlier on. There's a couple of places where you can monetize from it.
Absolutely.
Maybe just run through them and
see, and this is a good example, because now it's everywhere. It's played across the world.
and different platforms.
Different platforms. Now, that's where now you need to understand, where is my money? How do I access money from Europe? How do I access money from China? Wherever where this music is played, my song is played across the world now.
Resung,
yes,
whatever.
exactly. And now I've seen all these remixes of remix, and I hope it's same people that originally did it who's remixing it. That's a topic on its own. But if and look, we're not saying it's not. We just like hypothetically speaking.
Sure.
We're using it
As an example.
As an example. One, if the publishing side of it is not covered, that simply means he's not getting paid from our local CMO, your Capasos of this world. Number two, if his paperwork is not in order, that simply means the minute Jerusalem is used on TV, that means it's not being paid by the performance royalty CMO. You mentioned needle time. That means the artists, the producers are not getting paid for needle time. Already there's 3.
So imagine the amount of money
now. Yes.
out there.
Now, probably we will say, yeah, but it's making money from where? Yeah, sure, it might be making money from YouTube. But what if I'm accessing it through another channel?
But then again, through YouTube, if you actually don't have your publishing right, you still won't get money.
Absolutely.
In all fairness, unless it's your YouTube channel. Well, I guess the video was off his YouTube channel, but still, you're going to have that
You
issue.
still need to understand also the percentages, because for you to get it on YouTube, there is something that you sign between yourself and YouTube.
Yes.
Do you understand all that?
And
And when the money comes in, remember, it's not only in rand, it's euros, dollars. How do I receive it? By when do I receive it?
That's why
Is
it's
this the
important
right
to have a
amount?
publisher
So
eventually.
the person that will drill in to say, but hold on,
Yeah.
thank you for this X amount of money.
Yeah.
However, I think there's 10% short. And
Yes.
the publisher will be able to prove it, because he or she has your agreement and they have your best interest at heart. And that's where publishing comes in. And it's very, very important. We only mentioned 4 types of streams or of revenue for one song. There's others that, due to time, we can't drill into. But if you get a publisher, they will be able to go out there. And I mean, even if you go, for example, you go to Capasso will need certain documentation in order for them to know it's your song. And is this the song that you're referring to? Because it might be called Jerusalem, but how many Jerusalemas are there?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a
Who
common
are the-
name.
who
And
are
who are
the-
the other writers? What is exactly? Where's the code?